It is March 1st, 2025. My name is Tom Thompson. Thank you for being here, everybody. I genuinely appreciate it. I am doing this video in a way that I typically don't do almost any content, and that is straight from the head and the heart. I have no talking points prepared. I have no script. It's just me and the camera. No editing, no jump cuts. No, unless an anvil falls on my head. I'm not doing any type of editing whatsoever. I'm just gonna record this and go into Premiere, just line it up on the timeline and export it, and stick the intro on it too. So for those of you that have seen my posts this week, it's been quite a rough time with everything that's been going on with my PC. I mean, even doing this right now has been a challenge. I'm not doing it the way that I normally would. But for those of you out here that have reached out, that have donated to the PC repair cause, uh, I don't know if thank you is really strong enough, but thank you so much. I'm getting there. I definitely still need to raise a little bit more money, we'll say, for this. This is not cheap. And I'm just trying to stay positive, trying to stay focused. And I know that when problems arise in life, that they don't last forever, especially something like this. So I just wanted to mention that. I wanted to sincerely thank all of you that have helped so far. And to let all of you know that if you're able to, and you support what I do, you support the podcast, you appreciate what Digby and I bring to the table, any little bit helps right now. It's what I love to do. It's really all I have. And I cannot wait to just get things back to where they need to be. So thank you so much, everyone. But that's not what the video is about. This is about disclosure. And there's a lot of videos about disclosure, but this is serious. This isn't talking about post-disclosure or how to achieve disclosure. Quite different. No matter what happens around us, I believe that disclosure is a fundamental right that belongs to all of us. No government owns it. It does not belong to any nation state or committee or anything of that nature. It belongs to human beings. It belongs to the human race. Many people are feeling confused right now, frustrated. Say the best word to use would be exhausted. The ongoing secrecy, the delays, you name it. But I still firmly believe that there are individuals within our military and our government who genuinely want the truth to come out. But at the same time, opposing forces exist. They've been there since the beginning. It's unfortunate, but we know this to be true. This isn't anything new. Going on since the inception of the cover-up. And it's become pretty clear that we can't trust everyone. We just can't. Now, I'm not naming names because this is so complicated and so muddy that I have to be very frank with you. I don't even really know who's who at this point. I'm carefully observing and using discernment to the best of my ability, and I believe that you should absolutely do the same. But I am going to be the optimist in the room tonight. This is not meant to be a doom and gloom video by any stretch of the imagination. I think, strangely enough, and you may disagree initially when you hear me say this, all of this may actually be a blessing in disguise. And even I wasn't initially feeling that way. But then I really took some time to sit with this and meditate on it instead of immediately jumping in and filming a video. I waited a little bit. We don't need anyone to tell us that this exists, and especially experiencers. I know it exists. Uh, it has made itself present in my life on multiple significant occasions, and there are many of you out there who can say the same thing. Unfortunately, that's a very small part of the population. Then you have individuals who have never seen a UFO but are interested in the topic, that believe something is going on. But they've grown very weary of some of the more front-facing individuals, and rightfully so. We can't blame anybody for feeling that way right now. But at the same time, it almost feels like that's what somebody wants to happen. They want this to implode. They want people to give up. They want us to tap out. And that's the exact moment when we should be doing the opposite. Now, if someone decides to disconnect from this for a little bit, or move on to other things and maybe let certain things blow over, that's fine. It's any individual's right to do whatever they choose. I'm not going to hammer anybody for stepping away. I've seen some people get quite emotional in regards to all of this online. I've seen some infighting. And I can understand, too, both sides of the equation, why person A might be really angry that person B seems to have thrown their hands up into the air and they take it as they're giving up. Sometimes frustration leads to that type of thing. And I think we need to be here for each other. We need to have each other's backs. We need to stand in each other's corners. This community is filled with so many talented and intelligent and open-minded people. I've never been a part of anything like it in my entire life. I never thought I would be in any way, shape, or form deep in any sort of conglomerate of people in any capacity on the internet. Like, I never saw anything like that coming at all, ever. And yet here we are. Some of the most amazing people I think I've ever spoken to, I have met them through this community. We've never met in person, and yet they've had such an amazing impact on my life. We have to take disclosure into our hands. It belongs to us. It does not belong to anybody else. So I think the most important thing for someone like myself, and maybe even Digby as well, I think what we need to do, and I've been saying this for a long time too, there's a lot of people that we've interviewed, but I want to really focus on experiencers, regular witnesses, and other people in the community that have done research and have some really unique ideas. We don't need any type of UFO celebrity, for lack of a better term, for our show. Now, we'll interview anybody. However, I don't believe that it's a requirement for success. I don't feel that we have to invite the most well-known people in all of ufology for onto our show for a conversation in order for us to survive. I think that Digby and I are the main attraction. I believe in what we do. I believe in our ideas. I believe in our creativity and how he and I bounce off of one another. There's a greater point that I'm making here by mentioning that, and I don't want it to sound like I'm just kissing our own asses here because I'm not a very cocky person, but I have confidence in what we do. I really do believe in our show. I believe in our company, and I believe in the work that we put in. The point that I'm making is that we don't need anyone to hold our hand here. Okay? Sure, official government declaration, transparency, those are good things. They work to improve the relationship between the government and its citizens, and I'm all for that. As far as the actual basic principles of government disclosure, sure, I support that. We'd all love to see it. But we don't need them. We don't. We don't need them at all. To me, that's a bonus at this point. And I've felt that way for a while. And again, I know there are genuinely good people in the government and in the military that have absolutely had experiences with this phenomenon, that they themselves want answers as well, and they want those answers to be available to everybody else. It's not the government's property. It's not anybody's property, really. It's not a privilege that anybody's granting us. It's really it's our birthright to know what's out in the universe around us. I mean, isn't that funny though too? That for some reason, we've gotten to a point where we are a species living on a planet that is having a tough time reconciling the fact that there are others. And I've wondered, it's like, does this happen anywhere else in the universe? Are there other societies on other planets that aren't allowed to know that humans exist? I mean, we got to get away from this. I mean, enough is enough already. I was even thinking about the catastrophic disclosure term, and it's just like, fuck it at this point. Maybe we should just do it that way. Maybe somebody should just leak, some documents that would cause an uproar. But again, I can play devil's advocate. This is complicated. It's not a simple issue. If you actually sit down with a group of people and have a real, genuine conversation about disclosure and its potential effects, you may find yourself at the end of that road saying, there is risk involved. I think it would be naive to deny that aspect of this. I do. But again, at the same time, I think maybe we should just jump. Maybe, the pool's cold, but maybe we shouldn't just be dipping our toes in and going in little by little by little. Maybe we should just go for it. Because the truth is the truth. It's not going to change. Maybe it just doesn't matter. Maybe we would be better off just getting gobsmacked with all of it at once. I know it's a full plate, but I think, too, that the longer that we drag this out, the harder it's going to become to convince people when you are telling the truth. That's another problem. You're creating more of an issue by dragging this out as long as it has been. For far too long, secrecy and suppression have obstructed real progress on this issue. And it has been breeding the confusion and the frustration and the mistrust that we are now seeing. But that doesn't mean we should be giving up, because I know some people are really at that point now. They feel that they have nowhere to turn. But that is the ultimate mistake. Turn to yourself. Turn to the community itself. Just the regular people here on the ground. My perspective on all of this is interesting, though, because it's sort of a double-edged sword as well. When you have an experience with the phenomenon, your life changes completely. And you feel blessed for having had that because of just how outrageously fascinating and even beautiful it is. But sometimes it also feels like a curse. It's like trying to show a painting to someone that can't see. You wish that they could enjoy it. You wish that they could experience it the way that you did, but it's yours. You can't remove it from your memory bank and hand it to anybody and say, hey, check this out. It doesn't work that way. But I have witnessed this presence in undeniable ways, with other people present as well. Because of that, my experiences require no external validation. So I have that unique perspective working for me. I don't seek any confirmation from any authority. They don't need to tell me what I already know to be true. So what do we do now? What do? We keep on keeping on. Nothing should change, really. Not much. You know, you can easily go about your day. And if you don't trust certain figureheads in the conversation, then don't listen to them. You know, I feel like, of course, there's probably a lot of narrative control going on here, but it's a matter of the spirit in which that is being done. Now, play devil's advocate a little bit. I also want to say that the individuals that are most famously connected to everything that is going on right now, that have declared to the public that they're trying to work in the interest of disclosure and for transparency. If that is really true, if that is really what's going on in their minds and in their hearts, and they are just running into, numerous obstacles, then we also have to be careful not to alienate them either. So I would suggest that the best thing to do is to remain neutral. Focus on data, focus on witness accounts, experiences, physical trace evidence. Talk to people. That's the biggest thing. Talk to people. Talk to experiencers. Go back in the literature. There's a lot of information out in the world. I mean, my personal archive has thousands and thousands of books in it. I keep a very extensive digital archive on this subject and connected subjects, relating to consciousness, remote viewing, psi phenomena, your death experiences, you name it. It's in there. You don't have to go about studying this topic and ingest information from anyone that is going on television or doing all these different interviews. You don't have to listen to anybody. And if you're an experiencer, you know that. You don't need anybody to validate this. That was just a bonus, really. So ultimately, I feel like this may really be an opportunity for us to just take disclosure into our hands. How that plays out and what that really means is anybody's guess. But let's face it. The decades of secrecy have eroded public trust in our institutions. You know, trust in government is probably at an all-time low right now. So if they want to get back in our good graces, it is up to them to work towards that. We shouldn't have to beg. We shouldn't have to demand anything. They should be doing the begging at this point. And again, it's not everyone. The government is not one well-oiled machine. I look at it more like a spider web of interconnected parts that can exist individually, simultaneously. They're joint and separate, essentially. It's been a long week. I've had a lot on my own plate. But I wanted to give some of you out there that are extremely fed up and frustrated some hope. I'm moving forward. I've said it very clearly many times. Just to recap, there's only a few people that I truly trust. There are people that I respect. And then I remain neutral and I observe. And if someone says something I agree with, I make that apparent. Maybe I'll share it. Maybe I'll provide my own opinion on that. I carefully watch. I try to use my discernment to the best of my ability. But please, the last thing you should be doing right now is saying, fuck it. And just, that's it. I'm not going to try anymore. I'm not going to get involved in this subject anymore. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do that. That is exactly what these sons of bitches want you to do. The ones that are selfish, the ones that don't want anybody to know this, not out of fear of anything really, but out of selfishness, greed, all the things that come with that. Big B and I are still going to do what we do. We're going to do our content. We're going to do our show. We're going to make our videos. We have a lot of really interesting things coming down the pipeline. We're going to look at some historical cases and provide our own insights on them. So if you enjoy our particular brand of commentary, I would hope that you'll stick around for that and check it out. That's pretty much it for me. I love all of you. I sincerely appreciate those of you that have been here for a long time, giving us support. I'll even say it right to everyone that's watching. This is for you, Digby. I love you, man. He's essentially my best friend at this point. We've never met. Isn't that crazy? I really appreciate his patience with all of the difficulties that I've been working through on my end here. He's been nothing but patient and helpful and reassuring. And, where in situations like this, maybe other people would, disappear and say, "Oh, let me go try to find somebody who doesn't have computer problems." Igby has never left me in the dark, and he's just a really, really good human being, and I am extremely fortunate to have him as my work partner and, basically a brother from another mother. That's it, folks. Thanks for being here. Thanks for listening to me vent and rant. I don't know about the podcast tomorrow. I don't know what's going to happen yet tomorrow because Digby is taking a little bit of time off to spend with his family. It's well deserved. He's been working very, very hard this past week, really kind of carrying the load more so while I'm trying to get things sorted over here. And I'm hoping that through this week, I can sort of take charge so that he can have some time to spend with his children and his wife. So for myself, for Digby, for Anomalous, for all of you, and for the spirit of disclosure, take care. Have a good night or a good day wherever you are. Please stay safe, stay happy, stay healthy. We'll see you soon.